point. Uh, that being said, how are we looking on injuries, Kyle?
It looks like it's starting to get better. There's still some guys dealing with injuries, but the biggest one coming out of Saturday's game is Mitch Morse with his concussion. What happened was he suffered a concussion with it was very early in the third quarter. It was like 14:38 or something like that. And what happened was he came pulling around, collided with his block, and then he played one more play, and then the special teams came on the field, and then they announced that he was being assessed for a head injury, later diagnosed with a concussion. So unfortunately, this is now his sixth publicly documented concussion since he came into the league back in, I think it was 2015. He's had four with the Chiefs. No, three with the Chiefs, now three with the Bills there. So I know a lot of people are concerned about his concussion history, when he hangs it up and whatnot, but the Bills are definitely aware of the history. They knew that when they signed him back in 2019. They knew that when they extended him in March of 2022. So I don't expect that he's going to play against the Bears on Saturday, especially we just concussion. Sometimes guys come back a little bit sooner, but against the Bears to not have him, I'm okay with. If it was to Cincinnati, it's a different story, but give the guy a rest. It's been a long season. He's been working through an elbow injury all year too. It's unfortunate, but the team has had a game plan moving forward with him the entire time. So that's been the biggest one. And I think we just have to kind of see how this plays out. I have full faith that the team and Mitch know what with this. Other injuries of note were Boogie Basham dealing with a calf injury. There really wasn't anything on film to support what was there, but obviously they said he's day to day, which could mean he might not play on Saturday. That's what historically day to day has meant, maybe missing a game. And with the poor weather conditions at Soldier Field, that could play into where he's not going to get good enough footing, could be worse there. Going back to the other injuries, Ryan Bates suffered a medial ankle injury back against the Jets. He had somebody roll up on him. It looked like a high ankle sprain on video, but Jeremy Fowler of ESPN had said that he had a low ankle sprain, which kind of rules out the high ankle sprain, giving it to the medial ankle sprain. So he missed last week, but based off of Mitch Morse's injury and the fact that how the ankle injuries are, it's likely he'll be back, and he might be kind of forced back to play just because he has experience at center. And then the final injury is Jordan Phillips. If you recall, he suffered a right shoulder injury trying to chase down Mac Jones against the Patriots. He's missed the past 2 games. There was concern for a shoulder instability, a labrum tear, based off how he fell with the arm out stretch. And the timeline and the fact he hasn't even practiced kind of supports that, because we would see him start to return if there was an AC joint sprain. But the fact that they released Brandon Bryant this week in order to bring back Ike Bacher from the PUP list suggests that Phillips might be back this week too here. So guys are certainly getting better. And then last, Von Miller had a lateral meniscus tear. Now he has an ACL tear, though that's, I feel like, old news. So he's on the mend, and it just, the law of average has not been kind to the Bills at all this season, but still number 1 in the AFC with 11-3 record. It's really incredible.
Right. Now, obviously, we just saw that Ike Bucker came back. Do you have any anticipation at this point? Would you guess, or at least take a shot in the dark as to what's going on with Micah? Would it be more of, if they get to like the AFC Championship Super Bowl, that's when they kind of look at things? Or, I mean, even then, is it still too much?
God, I know Joe Biscaglia really lit a match under that one there. But even then, when he had the injury, there was that thought. I feel like when you look at playoffs, because that'll be the 4-month mark. I think it was division round or wild card. It would be the 4-month mark for him for the surgery. And we know that the fusion of the bones starts happening around 3 months. So it's just going to come down to how comfortable the surgeons are and how comfortable the team is and whatnot, knowing he's in the contract. There's a lot of variables to play there. It's one of those things that if everything's going perfectly and it's the playoffs and he's going to make a big difference maker, sure, let's go for it. I mean,
right.
Knowing how the contracts all line up and whatnot, but normal situations tell you that it's not going to happen, but this might not be normal for the Bills, and they might say, forget it. Let's do this. Things are safe enough in there. Let's try this. So We should get some better idea probably close to week 18, the first round of playoffs, if they're going to do something like that.
Gotcha. Now, the one final thing I really have is Josh Allen. Obviously, with his injury, he said that it wasn't so much that it was going to get better, and it really wouldn't get worse. What it seems at this point, like what he's saying, is that it's more of just kind of pain management or just kind of getting through it. Does it seem to you, with based on what's going on, not that it's getting better, but maybe that they're finding ways to help mitigate the pain for him, maybe with different, stretching, or is there something that he can do? Because it seemed like this past game, he really, it seemed like his throwing is a little bit more fluid. He was a little bit more comfortable than he was in the past couple weeks.
Definitely. He did look a lot more crisp. He looked more like the Josh Allen of old. Like he could zip PRP injection. He said that on the Pat McAfee show. We knew that the doctors were resistant on him playing because he said it was 2 to 4 weeks when they first saw the scans there. So we know it's a real injury. I don't think anybody's questioning it at that point, especially with the brace he was playing with, which I noticed he's not playing with anymore, which is surprising. But hey, that's his choice. I'm sure he's still using the hyperbaric chamber. I'm sure he's still doing any type of strengthening in the area they can, because Sal Capaccio, WGR, noted this. If a guy is on the injury report, though he's practicing full, he's getting some type of treatment, which could affect the repetitions, dictate limited, full, whatnot. So he's still getting treatment on this elbow, which is important to note that he's still on there. So I'm sure he's getting every tool available in there that could help out with healing and make sure that they can manage the pain there. So they have so many different things. I posted up a video. Steve Smith, formerly of the Panther, threw on a YouTube series a few months ago back during training camp, and they took a tour of the training facility, and they got to see a lot of different things they're using in the facility. So like they have the hyperbaric chamber. I know that they have ultrasound, which I'm not a fan of, but there is some clinical significance to that maybe help it out with things with healing. They have I think red light therapy might help. But really just I'm forgetting all the other stuff there that they could use to help really accelerate the healing, and just the fact that they can do it more often than a normal person could all help facilitate that healing, at least try to make it more manageable. So it's impressive how he's played through the injury despite everything. But Josh Allen isn't human. We've figured that much out.
Right. And it looks like Carl's asking, does Josh need to have surgery on his elbow after he finishes celebrating his Super Bowl victory in February?
I don't believe so. The only reason I could see that is if he were to re-injure the elbow, and then that's a whole nother conversation. I don't foresee, based off what we know, they said it was, a partial tear of the UCL ligament. Talking about like a grade 2, grade 1, that range there, but they said that there's some tearing in there from what some of the reports were saying. So I'm sure it's scarring down, healing up by now. The only thing I could think of is if there was a re-injury to the area, or B, if he had like some type of loose bodies in there, bone chips, stuff like that. But I think that I'm not saying we would hear about that, but I think we would start seeing that affected in his play a little bit. But his play has been improving, not kind of erratic like we had seen previously.
Gotcha. Anything else that you've got in terms of the Bills, or the Browns, excuse me, the Bears, with the upcoming matchup on Saturday?
I know Justin Fields has been working back through an AC joint sprain. I can't recall if it was his throwing shoulder or not. I know he got dinged up again this week, but he's been basically putting the Bears on his back and trying to play through everything, even though they're 3-10. I know they lost some other key contributors early in the season, which has been really unfortunate. It's contributed to their 3-10 record. So I haven't been able to dig too much into their injury status yet, but I don't know. You're 11-3. You're going to a stadium. I don't want to say this should be a gimme game, but the Bills should be going in there and make it no doubt of who the better team is when they go in there. So regardless of injuries.
Right. Well, I definitely appreciate you as always, and go get some sleep, go get some rest, and I don't know. I think we'd have a show next Monday. I don't see why we wouldn't. It's the weekend after, but if anything goes and doesn't happen, then we'll speak. But as for always, Kyle, we appreciate you. You can check out all of Kyle's content at bangedupbills.com or on Twitter at bangedupbills.
Right, thank you.
We'll see you, brother.
See ya.